Yeah, it's the best. Hey, everybody. It's the Squeegee Life podcast. I'm here with my boyfriend, Mark Tanner, Seth Byers, Tim Huber, and our guest this evening, Everett, the Wizard of Wood Abrams. How you doing, Everett?
Good. How are you guys tonight?
Awesome, man.
Good.
Thank you for coming.
You're like a legend that I don't know because I don't do a lot of wood cleaning, but I always am attracted to. People refer to you all the time as like the godfather of cleaning wood, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it. I'm down at the Huge, and that's what all I'm hearing while I'm here. So.
Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah. Everett is live from the Huge, everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. Came upstairs to do the podcast.
Awesome.
Good.
We really appreciate you doing that. So, what's the attendance like? Is there a bunch of people there? Is it fun? Is it cool? Is it interesting?
Well, I'm on your podcast, so I'll just be direct and honest. It's not the same one we've been to, that's for sure. So there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of stuff going on. Good high energy, but nobody knows where they're going because no signage, nothing's up on the marquees. Nobody knows where they're going.
Okay.
So new guys, they're trying to figure it out.
They'll figure out as they go, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're there, I know Jersey's there too, right? Jersey's there, isn't he?
Yeah,
Jersey's there, so yeah, all the cool people are there. So, I mean, it must be all right. I think those are just maybe just growing pains, you know.
I'm sure they are. And a lot of the guys that are involved here were already with the Huge anyway, like Jersey here. So, they'll get it. It's good.
Get it, yeah.
Good stuff. There's a lot of people, like I said, high energy. It's interesting, the crowd. You got a lot of people you haven't seen in a while. It's great, catching up and all that stuff. But you can tell by looking at the crowd, there's a lot of new people, a lot of new faces.
Right.
That's a good thing.
That's a great thing, actually. Except for some people don't like new people, but I don't mind it. It's all right.
That whole industry is growing. It grows in leaps and bounds compared to window cleaning. You know what I'm saying? The pressure washing industry, anyway, at least around by me, they're just saturated everywhere, you know. And you'll have a lot of come and goes, but guys that are taking the time to travel to, you know, events like that, you know, hopefully they make it long term, you know, make something of it.
They put in the time, hopefully, yeah. Absolutely.
Sure. Well, it's a good thing.
So,
a lot of.
Go ahead, Mark. No, go ahead, Mark.
How's the trade show? I mean, I have a lot of equipment on sale, or I mean, at least for you to view. And
well, that's another weird thing. They wouldn't let him set up till noon. I was teaching a class from 12 to 5. I know they let him in there, and there was a short window. I got to walk in there until they asked me to leave. So it looks like there's a lot of vendors. It's a smaller room as far as height. But it's more space, I think, than what they had in the past. It looks like more floor space.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like there's a few more vendors than there was before.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. I think people are still a little bit afraid to travel, a little afraid of, you know, coming out of or dealing with what's going on as far as the pandemic goes. And they're a little afraid to spend money, you know, on, I mean, someone new and up and coming say, well, it's going to cost me, by the time I pay for the tickets and travel and stay in a hotel, $1,500. I could buy a pressure washer for that price. You know what I'm saying? So it might not be the right year for everybody, especially some of the newer, younger generation coming into the industry. You know?
Yeah, and a lot of the newer guys coming in, they have no idea what they're getting into. A lot of them, they may even be getting in it because of the pandemic. So, like you said, they're kind of holding back a little bit right now. But the ones that are here, it's funny because they seem like they're asking the right questions. I see people that are walking up to me, not afraid to walk up, introduce themselves. You know, hey, how did you get started? When I first started, I was doing pressure washing and window cleaning. I involved more into the wood. So it's kind of neat to tell those stories. A lot of people ask that stuff.
Nice. Nice.
He's saying you were teaching a 5-hour class. What were you teaching?
It was wood restoration. It was mostly the basics. I had some new people that struggle a little bit, trying to figure out how to better price some of the products that are out there. It was kind of a different group because I would probably say half the group of the 28 and the other half were from years of business.
Okay, kind of like a mixed group.
Yeah. Interesting too because some guys they're at the wood, a company that offers like window paint.
Yeah, this year is crazy. Is that him again?
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing.
Yeah. Is it Tim? Tim is your...
No, it's...
Whoa,
it's
Tim's...
Scott now.
Yeah, you're Tim. Yeah, Tim, you're... Why... Talk again, Tim. What the fuck? I think it's both Ians, to be honest with you. Are you too far away from your phone, possibly, Tim?
No, I'm not. Phone's right here.
Mark, you totally got me right there. I'm like, what? I was like, what was that? Yeah, Wizard. Yeah, he's got a little background noise, but
yeah, I got some background. I can take that down now. That'll probably fix me.
I got a freaking jet turbine running in
Dude, I got a cow fan back there, man. It gets hot out here, boy.
So I want to ask you a couple questions, Everett, because we've all, as pressure washers and window cleaners, taken serious pressure to a pool deck or a fence, thinking that we're actually cleaning it, which for a small period of time and from a distance, it does look good. You know, so my question to you is going to be, how did you kind of figure this out, or, what steps did you take to figure out? I assume you use a chemical system or a very low pressure to restore wood, correct?
I do now, but that's not how I started. I can tell you that. So first time I did it, I was actually got into kitchen exhaust when I first got into pressure washing.
Ooh,
and of course, when everybody starts, they start adding things. They got to make money. So yeah, I'll wash a house. I'll do whatever. So I'm washing a house, and the lady asked me, hey, can you wash the deck? Can you clean the deck? I said, sure. I had no idea what I was doing. Never did it. Took the pressure washer. I made toothpicks out of that deck.
Right.
Yeah. But it looked good at the time, inch by inch, and making it.
Hey, listen, all you did was give it some texture so it was a non-slip surface. That's all you did.
Right.
Definitely non-skid, man, for sure.
I got to assume, Everett, not to interrupt you, but forcing water at 3,000 psi into wood is probably not a good thing, right?
No, but you know what? At first, it sure looked pretty.
Yeah.
Kept going.
I've been there.
But you know what? That kind of made me want to do it. Find out, this isn't the right way. So how is the right way?
Right.
Sure.
And there was a guy next door that lived next door, worked for Woolman, and back then Woolman made 60% of the pressure treated wood.
Mm-hmm.
And he came over. He says, "Look, I don't know how to do this, but I know a guy that does for our company." And he put me in touch with this guy, Rick Mendenhall from Woolman, and that's what got me really started on it. And then I just wanted to do it better than anybody else. And at first it was just in my area, because I realized, if I'm doing this, everybody else is probably doing it. So he taught me the right way, and that kind of put me on the path.
So now, is your process like a chemical base, and then you come back and do some sealing, or you go to A to B? A being completely.
I'm sure there's levels to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you want to sum it up kind of like in kind of an easier term, the first thing you do when you go out to take a look at wood is you throw water on it. If it beads up, you got to break that barrier, so you're going to strip it. If it soaks in, then you're going to clean it, and it's a lot easier to do those type of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's a chemical process. Are you going to strip it, or are you going to use a cleaner? And then it gets into which one are you going to use, because there's different types, and there's all different coatings now. So once you got the education, you know the chemicals and which one you should be using, it kind of makes the job a little bit easier, because it's all in the prep. The staining or sealing part is, I know a lot of people, they get anxiety over, and there's people that love the paint or they hate the paint. There's hardly anybody in the middle. So that is the easy part. Once you prep the wood, it's gonna bang once you put the sealer on.
I'm a hate to paint guy, so I will clean it for you, but everything after that is up to you.
Yeah.
I'll clean it for you, but that's all I'm doing.
Yeah. I think, though, to answer the question, I know a lot of guys when soft washing started getting really popular, I feel like the wood guys were the soft washing guys originally, because we were using chemicals with low pressure a long time ago, and then when soft washing really got popular, I just feel like the concept behind using chemicals to do the work kind of took off, but some of these guys went too crazy. So you can do that on a non-porous surface better than you can with wood. With wood, you throw up too much chemical on there, you burn the wood, you fuzz the wood up, you create more work for yourself. So it's really dialing it in as to what's the right mix for what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, I struggle every time I do it. I just start doing shit. I do things and then I'm like, oh no. And then sometimes I do things and it works out perfectly. You know what I mean?
There's no science to it, because it's one of those things where, we still get bit in the ass once in a while. Everybody talks about Thompson's being this terrible product. That's the one that kicks a lot of people in the ass, because you go out and you look at this deck and it grayed out because Thompson's isn't as good, so it looks gray. To a lot of people, they'll come out and say, hey, this deck just needs a light cleaning. Then they go out and throw their house wash solution or whatever they're using to clean with, and all of a sudden the water's beating up, it's not doing anything, right. And they realize, now I'm in over my head.
Yeah. Now, are there instances, Everett, where you would physically sand a deck? I mean, like, I would assume a Thompson's water seal as a penetrant, as a sealant, so it going into the wood fairly deep. Is that easy? Is that removable with a chemical, other than some form of stripper?
Well, it used to be, we used to all use sodium hydroxide as a stripper because it worked good on oils. But there's so many different products now that a lot of the good strippers have potassium hydroxide, butyl in them. They have other things in them. Mm-hmm. If you have the right product, it does strip off easier. Okay. But if you're trying to use old school methods on some of the newer coatings, that's where a lot of guys get screwed up. And they get frustrated and then they bail out. But the ones that figure it out, they usually have a higher profit margin on the jobs that they do.
Right. I see in my area just funky ass green 5/4 boards. You know what I mean? Nothing, not treated, just regular old green 5/4 board. You know what I mean? That's all I see. No, it seems like nobody around here wants to do anything as far as staining or sealing or anything. They don't care. They're just like, clean it off. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it's just the area, but most people that seem concerned with their deck surface, I've got the Aztec decks, or the plastic compounded decks now. It's no more the wood. Most people that have wood decks now are old school. You know what I mean? And they're just clean it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So what about like a softwood, like if you get into that, because a lot of we see a lot of those down here where they're doing like the Brazilian
that was a
wood,
question. Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask. I mean, are you really specifically? I mean, do you just stick to pressure treated lumber, or do you like when somebody goes to see the Wizard of Wood and get some training? Do you get like exotic woods and stuff like that? How to clean exotic woods like Brazilian and that's cool, man.
So what we do is we actually have a training deck when we do the trainings at my place, and we have all different types of wood on one side and all the composites on another side.
Okay.
So we have cedar and we have pressure treated. We actually do knotty and clear wood so they can see the difference of how it's stained and how it looks different. Because knot dense spots is going to look a little different than clear wood. And then we have mahogany, garapa, kumaru, ipe, so they can see those exotic woods. Because believe it or not, you stepped into it when you said the composites, because before the pandemic, only 11% of the decks being built were built with composite. And if you ask somebody, they would tell you 70, 80. So what happened is the manufacturers before the pandemic said, we got to break that 11%. So they started scalloping underneath and make the planks so that there'd be less material. And then they would introduce a new product line, 25-year guarantee, but because they were using less material, they could offer it for a less price. Combine that with the pandemic and all these people taking their money and building decks and fixing their backyards. We're up to 46% now of composite decks.
Damn.
That's crazy, dude. I've seen a bunch. I mean, more composite decking than, like new composite decks than I've ever seen lately. I mean, they're everywhere. And I hate them because they usually build them over a 2-story and, you know, you got to set a ladder on it and it's slippery in the wintertime. And man, you bastards.
I've seen a lot of composite decks go up that I think they don't put enough, what do they be, stringers or rafters under them, and they start to warp over time. And I'm like, this is just, and especially in Florida, those decks are probably getting up to 120, 130 degrees, and they might be 3/4 of an inch thick. I don't know. But they seem to, and they put screws like every 24 inches, so I assume that's where the stringers are. You know, and for me, seeing that, a white deck with stainless screws in it, they better all be straight. You know what I'm saying? But I see a lot of this waffling.
Not for nothing, but I'm just going to say this out loud, and I hope people don't get mad at me, but people don't know how to build anything down south.
No, they don't. I agree.
No, their code is crazy.
Yeah, it's really weird.
They
like
don't.
you would never see anything 2-foot centers on deck wise around here. Nowhere.
No.
Nowhere. Up in Ohio, it's all 16-inch on center.
So here's the problem with it, though. Building codes are one thing, but manufacturer recommendations and warranty stuff is different. So, like when you get the composites, you take that diagonal or herringbone shape or pattern. What happens is that span goes from 16 now to about 23 and a half. So in that case, the composite people are telling you use a 12-inch center versus a 16.
Right.
But you still go out and see a 16 and 24, and these people are putting the composites and they get wavy. And he's right. Mark's right. There's not enough span. The span is too wide between the joists, and that's causing a lot of problems. And the biggest one is the homeowners that go and don't know, and they just say, I'm going to rip the boards off one weekend. I'm going to have some guys over, grab some pizza and beer, and they put the composite down, and they don't know what the way it's supposed to be put down. So we see a lot of that, and then it ends up buckling.
Now, so I have a question, Everett.
Yeah.
What experience do you have with Teakwood?
A lot.
Okay.
So we have like about a half a dozen customers that are active that actually have teak decks. And then we do a lot of teak furniture restoration. I've even got some videos of that stuff up. I feel like that's the biggest opportunity. And when I teach the classes, if there's any window cleaners in them, that's the big one, because the window cleaners kind of get it because they do route work. If you go and you're going restaurants, coffee shops, hospitals, resorts, hotels, they've all got outdoor furniture. So easy once it's restored to keep it that way, because all it is, a little soapy water, detergent, clean it off. You get done all the furniture, you go back and either wipe it with some oil or a coating, whatever they're putting on it, and call it a day. And you can tie that right in with your route work. And on the West Coast, they do that more. On the East Coast, we don't do anything, and that's just opportunity sitting out there.
Right.
So I started working at this estate home every week about 6 months ago. I know TJ's seen some of the pictures of it. This guy is a teak fanatic. Okay, all his furniture on the deck is all teak. His deck Everett, you might find this pretty amazing, is knotless teak, okay, that they get from Thailand in a forest, right? That's just what I was told. I don't know much about it, but I know this. The window frames are all custom teak furniture, and he's got tremendous amounts of decks. So I go there, and he's like, what can you do with this deck? Now, I look at this, and I can know right away, this deck costs
surface
more than
cleaner.
my house.
Surface cleaner, man.
Yeah.
It should be good, dude.
This deck costs more than my house, and then some. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he says, the homeowner wants this to turn gray. And I go, okay. I'm going to do a little research. And I called a buddy that does yacht refinishing. Now, he knows wood as well. It's a whole different market, yacht refinishing, but there's a lot of teak in yachts. And he told me, if she wants it to gray, you got to wash that wood. I'm not lying to you, Everett. I go to the window, before I wash the windows, I take a simple garden hose with a spray nozzle on it and go around the perimeter of the windows, and you cannot believe how much oil comes out of that teak. I mean, it literally, if the house is white, it looks like brown dirt just running down every single week.
Wow.
And now it's starting to turn gray. So is that because of pulling the natural oils out of the wood?
It is the natural oils. It's high in oil, high in tannic acid. It's really good. And the one thing about teak, and it's good that it does that, it's actually probably the best hardwood you could use resistant to insects.
Okay.
You won't
Yes.
see any insects touch that.
Right.
No wood boring, wood board, powder post beetles, nothing. Even the strange stuff doesn't touch that. So that's why it's really good for that reason. But if they do want it to turn gray, like people do, just clean it, let it grow. That's great. Back to that patina, and I don't care if you wait 10 or 15 years. Somebody wanted that restored. And we all have benchmarks. A lot of people say, "Well, I got the graduation coming, or some party, a wedding, something."
Yeah.
You can restore that, and it comes back to just like it was brand new again.
Now, would you just introduce oils back into it?
That's what we do. Yeah.
Okay, because I mean, they have all that decking and framing, and then they have about 50 feet of louvered doors that are all teak made. Now, I saw these guys with scrapers and little sanders, and they were working on them. They obviously knew what they were doing. I just kind of watched from a distance. But when they were done, when I came by the next week, it was quite the opposite of turning it gray. It looked like furniture. And I'm like, that is probably some of the most gorgeous wood I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's really gorgeous done, because when you first wet it, gets like a golden color. When it dries, like you just said, it looks like brand new lumber.
Yes.
You go and you oil it. All you need is a teak oil or something very natural. I like a product called Mesmer's. They have a hardwood. They made a product just only 2 tones, natural, red mahogany. That's it, too. That's it. You put the natural on, it makes that teak jump. I think it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. I assume that's probably one of the more expensive woods.
It is. That Ipe, Kumaru, the Garapas, they're pretty expensive. So that leads you to, if cedars become obsolete, it's mostly pressure treated for the price, and then they skip over cedar because cedar is too expensive now for what you get. So they either jump to composite or those exotic ones.
I just did my whole bathroom in knotty cedar, tongue and groove, and it was a gajillion dollars, just so everybody knows.
I imagine so.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? We used to get because we build decks too. A 4x4 post cedar, 8-foot cedar post was, $12 to $16 not that long ago. We go and we got a price last week, $86 a post.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Now, cedar's pretty soft. I have cedar. All my fascia board on my house is cedar, and I know when we did the change of the roof, I had some issues with the cedar where a gutter was leaking and channeled through the cedar because it's very soft, and I had to find like 8-inch or 10-inch cedar, and like Home Depot and Lowe's only have it like 6 inches. I had to go to a specialty store, but I love the smell and the look of that cedar wood.
That's one thing about it. It's aromatic. It's supposed to be to rot and decay, but the problem is it's one of the 10 softest woods, so it does deteriorate. The worst part about cedar, though, is because of the consumption of cedar, they started cutting it too much. I mean, the demand was too much, so they cut them early. So the heartwood didn't form as well. So the cedar decks that used to last 25, 30 years only last 15 to 20 now.
Yeah. Now, I know when I had several sections replaced, the guy that painted the house, refused to paint it, and he said that really has to dry out for a long period of time. I was kind of upset because I'm like, I got 3 odd planks in the front of my house that are not painted. We waited like 5 months, and then he came back and he did something to them and then painted them. Is that true that it has to breathe?
Okay, so cedar, that's untrue.
Uh-huh.
So if you talk to the Western Red Cedar Lumber Association, they'll tell you the best time to stain the cedar is as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And some of the fallacy is we don't know how long some of this wood's been in the lumber yard or not most of the time. Now it seems like everything's green. The one where you have to really watch out is for pressure treated pine.
Yeah.
Because pine comes in really wet. It could have a lot of resins in it. You probably should wait. Actually, the wood that's I've seen, if it's knotty, pressure treated pine, probably 6 months or more is probably, or a season would probably be a good idea to wait. That dry out before you do it. The exception would be if you bought prime kiln dried, no knots, kiln dried, already dry. That's different, but it's hard to find that at a good price.
Right. I've the stuff the cedar paneling, tongue and groove paneling that I used in my bathroom was like. It was like I was expecting it to be dripping. It was so slick with oil. I had to unbox all of it and let it sit on the porch for a week before it was dry to the touch. It was bad, dude. I was like, man.
Cedar you're probably going to do within a 30-day period.
Right.
But pine you're probably going to wait a little bit longer.
My stuff's all drying and it's drying on the walls now.
There you go.
Well, I think she's gonna. We painted the ceiling gloss white, even though I was pained to paint that wood. That's what we decided to. I should say we decided. We decided that's what we're gonna do. We means her, and I just do what she says because I'm smart. And then She wants to do like a whitewash kind of like aging on the walls, which I'm cool with that. I think it'll look neat. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I hope it turns out good.
Like me. When it doesn't work out, it was me.
Yeah.
And when it works out great, it was we.
Exactly. I've been at this a while. Mark knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Tim does too. Seth will learn as he goes.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
How long have you been doing this?
That's what was going to be my next
wood
question.
stuff. Yeah.
30 years now.
Wow.
So how did you get into this? How did you get into this?
Yeah.
Were you like, working at Ford one day and you're like, screw this, I want to work for myself? I mean, how did you get here?
Great question. So I was opening up Kenny Rogers Roasters back in the day.
God.
No shit.
The kitchen exhaust guy, he's telling me that I did my fire suppression. Says in one of the restaurants, he says, we got to start cleaning these hoods. And I've been trying to keep up with him. I can't do them. Every 6 months, he's got all these accounts. So I said, well, there's opportunity. I'll start doing kitchen hoods. Well, that didn't last too long because I didn't like working nights. I didn't like working in the cold. Didn't like, everybody argued back then 1-man or 2-man crews. Well, I understand a 2-man crew because I fell down the bottom of the ladder and woke up about 40 minutes later and had to drive home probably with a concussion. The ladder had iced up. So I got all kinds of stories doing that. So when I got to started doing other pressure washing stuff and I screwed up that deck, I realized that opportunity. And it's really weird because I swear we were working, because we did commercial work too. So we did fleet washing. We had some great accounts. We had school bus accounts. We had restaurants. We had all kinds of stuff. But I felt like we were working 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. And we were just churning and burning. And then I realized that as I got into wood, the profit margin was better. I could actually work less if I kind of honed in on that. So the first thing I did after we started, getting good, I started doing franchises. I had 11 of those, but I also developed my own product. To sell my own products, I had to get rid of the franchisees. So I kind of bought those guys out, and that's when we came public with the products. I'm glad I did that. In that whole area, though, the Department of Agriculture, the Forest Products Lab, has this committee, Joint Coatings Committee. and it's made up of 20 people that represent the wood side of the industry and 20 that represent the coating side. One day I got a call. They were considering 5 people to be the first contractor to be on this committee. And I'm thinking, well, what am I going to have to offer all these guys? There's a representative, from Cabot and Sherwin-Williams, MAB, whoever, all the coating companies. And here comes Everett. So he went through my franchise stuff, the circuit. You send in like a resume. I got chosen to do that. And I feel like at that point, and this is going back over 15 years ago, that is where it really took off for me, because that's when I got kind of geeked about the whole thing. I'm rubbing elbows with some guys that were getting some great results, doing some neat stuff. And that's kind of where it took off from there. So.
That's
awesome,
pretty
man.
interesting.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kenny
so
Rogers roaster sucked, but keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll with you.
You kind of carved out, no pun intended, but your own little niche 30 years ago. That's pretty interesting, because who would ever thought? So I got to ask you another question. You go to someone's house and a deck or a fence. You do fences as well?
Oh, yeah. Log cabins, everything.
Okay, so I'm just relating this to glass restoration. So do you do a sample for them and say, this is what it's going to look like? Or do you just have so much confidence you go, this is what it's going to cost, but you'll be happy?
Well, it's funny because there's 2 different customers. So the one, I'll tell them, just like you said, I'll say, you'll be happy. Just wait till the end. You'll probably have some questions as we go through the process, but just wait till the end. You'll be happy. And then there's other people, like you said, have to be convinced. I still do demos. We still do demos. If I teach the class, I teach people to take a test kit with them so that they can do like a test patch on a customer, so they can kind of see for themselves what it's going to look like. It's no different than, any of the other stuff we do. It's those demos really can help sell it.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to imagine that early on, when Everett was playing around with this wood, you probably got a little frustrated and busted the pressure washer out, right? Don't tell me you didn't, because I would.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And all not that long ago. So when the
just left, get the pressure washer.
So when the government got involved in this in like 2000, changed the, how formulations were made and all these other coatings came out. First thing you did was, what are we going to do? We're going to use some pressure. So that we kind of got through that, and now we've got a lot of other products, chemicals. We kind of caught up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the cart in front of the horse anymore. We've got those tools there to do this. Now, if you take that further though, and you talk about using pressure, there's other ways to restore wood that we're not talking about, and most people don't, but that does involve pressure. Yeah. So we say don't use pressure on wood, but yet we do media blasting, and media blasting is pressurized media that's thrown up against the wood that'll remove the coatings. Good.
Using like some form of glass bead, or would it be plastic media, or maybe pecan shells for media?
Yep. So here we go, contractor stories. So we used to use corn cob or walnuts, and it was kind of a relatively low price, biodegradable. People use that even to clean boats with and stuff when they come out. It's all biodegradable. And then what happened is the wood guys, they're not prepping the logs enough. They're not getting all that media off, and then it molds underneath the coating. So then all of a sudden the price gets jacked up, and crushed glass comes in. Crushed glass, so you can reuse. Yeah. So most people use crushed glass like now or up till now, but now that's even changed. And I don't know how much you guys know or have heard of this one, but vapor blasting or dustless blasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's amazing some of the machinery that they have now. I know Graco has a machine that's somewhere like around 10 grand. It was 15 grand a few years ago. I saw a demo. That's my next purchase, but it took a demo with a soda can. They didn't even dent the can and took all the paint right off.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I have a neighbor that bought a dustless blasting franchise. There's a little bit of a learning curve with equipment like that, because you got a monster compressor. I actually had in my yard, a guy had a machine from overseas that used crushed volcanic rock, and it had a heat exchanger system in it. So the engine was actually you ran water into it, that cooled the engine, and the engine would expel the hot water into the gun. So you'd have like 150-degree water, and I watched him strip painted curbs. You know, they painted curbs yellow where people hit them, and then they didn't like the way it looked, and so all the pressure cleaning guys showed up with all these strippers, and then the stripper was eating up the asphalt. And I go, I know this guy, he's got this machine, and it looked, I mean, you could take concrete and take oil out of a concrete. You're resurfacing the concrete at that point. Okay, and it looked like better than brand new. I mean, it's an amazing. The problem is, you know, at that point, some guy makes an investment and buys a machine like that, like the Dustless Blasting franchise, which has a business model. But a lot of these guys are not businessmen. They retire from the fire department or the police and say, I want to do something, and they have no clue how to run a business. You got the best piece of equipment, but you know, you're not getting a paycheck from the police department anymore. So you better get out and start marketing and putting it together.
Hey, Mark, so that's when you buy their equipment.
Yeah, and you just move on and do your thing. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting. I'm watching that machine's been sitting on the side of the house for a while. You know, it's like $45,000. The Dustless Blasting. The only thing I didn't like with it, because I do a lot of metal work, and I had him do some round tubing for me. And the problem with the Dustless Blasting, and he says he puts an additive in it, it flash rusts really fast because you're using water. You know, but I could imagine. I've seen them strip barnacles off a bolt hole, take the paint off the bottom of a boat without damaging the glass, you know, the gel coat or whatever. And there's a great machine, you know, a big investment, but you got to have the work for it.
Right.
You know.
So do you
market? Just because you get the equipment, you got to know how to market it.
Exactly.
So what's the name of the product line you sell, Everett?
It's Deck Restoration Plus.
DRP.
DRP, yep. We got the stains and we've got different restoration products. We keep coming out with different stuff. So it used to be like you used to use one stripper. We have 3 different strippers that we're using now.
And is there? I assume that you have a website for this, Everett, or can I go to Sherwin-Williams and buy your product?
No, we mostly have. There's about 250 outlets. There's bulk distributors, and then we're in a bunch of True Values up in the north. And that's through a distributor also as well.
So ramping up from making this stuff in your garage to that must have been a huge challenge.
Very big. It was a lot of messing around with formulas. Not happy with. I'll be honest with you. You could put my stain on wet wood and you can't tell the difference. So I say wet, not sopping wet. We would blow it off or whatever. But you could do it the same day for sure. And we stumbled on that by accident.
Really? You almost have to be a chemist to figure this stuff out.
Well, if people that ask me if I'm a chemist, you know, I'm not, but I feel like it at times. I've learned to be one.
Right.
I worked with a chemist that worked on the formulas and stuff like that too. So, good stuff.
That's awesome.
That's very interesting. You're a fascinating person to talk to. You know?
So you run classes. How often do you run classes? Like, do you do just big ones at conventions, or do you do like smaller, more intimate classes?
Yeah, I do both. So, like, even for a company or something like that, we could do that for employees, that kind of stuff. I'll do them at the conventions. I'll do them at different shows. A lot of the distributors, they ask to come in and do them also, like a half a day to support the contractors that are buying from them. A lot of times those half-day kind of classes, too, or even like a 2/3 day, a third day doing demos and products, that gets guys over the hump. You know, it kind of answers a lot of questions. But then if there's somebody that wants more intensive, I do it every 2 months. I do a 3-day class at my place in Chemung where we have that test deck and we have the logs and everything else to work with. But I used to be a 2-day class. I just don't feel like a guy can get into wood restoration without those 3 days. You know, he could walk out of there confident that he can do the work. That's the big part about wood restoration is you got to have confidence, because if you're not confident, you kind of stumble, you screw it up, you hesitate. Am I doing it right? Am I not? And that's the kind of
So no online learning from the Wizard of Wood, huh?
Yeah, it's all online too.
Oh, okay.
Video. It's on the wizardofwood.net.
Oh, okay.
So I assume, Everett, relating what you do to certain aspects of what we do or I do as well, every piece of wood, right, depending on even a piece of pine, you know, is going to react different to what you're about to do to it. You know, I say that because I'm comparing it to glass. I could restore glass from the same manufacturer on the same building, and it acts totally the opposite. So my question to you is it's obvious that a 3-day class is going to be going to cover a lot of ground, but at the same time, the again, someone's working on a wood that sits out in the sun, 10 hours a day versus in the northern climate where it's not as humid and everything. Is there a big difference from climate or different types of wood that you need to learn all these different aspects of it?
Yeah, it really is, actually. It's a good question because there are products as you get into it. There's some products that work better like in the South than they do in the Northeast.
Yeah.
When you deal with humidity and stuff. There are some, they won't even take the cold weather. I mean, so you got to be careful the times of year, what you're putting down. There's a lot that goes into it. The 3 days won't get you, you're not going to become any expert in 3 days.
You're not going to be Everett Abrams. Yeah, you're not going to be Everett Abrams in 3 days, but you'll have a toolkit in order to learn.
You're gonna go out there and be able to figure it out. That's
right.
For sure.
So
stuff that we're working outside, it is trial and error. You got to experience some of this stuff. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Now, I assume that with your classes and whatnot, Everett offers consulting services. Like, hey, Everett, here's some pictures of what I'm attempting to do here. This is the kind of wood, and we're really struggling to make this work. What do you suggest? Or do you physically travel to places and consult as well on bigger jobs?
Do you charge $3,000 for a weekend?
TJ, when want me to come out, TJ?
Right. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I've been toying around with coming to one of your, at your home base. I've been toying around to coming to one of those because a lot of my customers here, like Mark was saying, these are a lot of vacation homes and they are littered with teak furniture and teak decks. And it would be a nice little feather in my cap to be able to do that with confidence because I do clean them now, but I'm always like a mess. Every time I do it, like I have all kinds of anxiety beforehand and then all kinds of anxiety while doing it. And then afterwards, I'm like, man, they're going to call me pissed off.
One chair costs more than you're charging them to clean 20.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it could be intimidating.
I've been toying around with driving out there and getting some expert advice.
I honestly think that even if I didn't plan to restore wood, I would like to sit through the class. For sure. It's interesting.
Super interesting.
I got to be honest with you, Everett. When you said you did a 5-hour class, I'm like, is anyone sitting through 5 hours of Everett talking about wood? But I'm like,
you're already
I'm already sold. I'm already sold, dude.
I mean, do you pull balloon animals? You make balloon animals or anything?
Do you wear the hat the whole 5 hours?
That's funny. I forgot to put it on today. Usually they ask for pictures.
I struggled on the internet.
On the website.
I struggled on the internet
You want to take a picture?
I struggled on the internet trying to find a good picture of you in that hat. You've always got your arm around someone with the hat on, and I'm like, shit! I'm trying to find a good one for the advertisement. And then, after I do the advertisement, the following day, he does this perfect picture at the airport. I'm like, son of a bitch!
He did it on purpose for it.
I'm like, he's messing with me.
You obviously sell the education. Mm-hmm. You have a line of products that's invaluable to the industry. Does Everett have employees that go out and restore wood, or you're just focused on training and product sales?
So basically, I have two companies. One we call DRP Enterprises. The other one's Deck Restoration Plus. Deck Restoration Plus does the products and the education. Mm-hmm. DRP Enterprises, standing for Deck Restoration Plus, we do all the contracting. Mm-hmm. So we have 20 employees. We have 7 crews. They're out there working between building decks, restoring decks, and doing pressure washing.
Wow.
So we run 2 companies off the same property. I have a 60-acre farm, 2 separate buildings. We run them separately, and both do really well.
That's awesome.
And is there any time for window cleaning in here, Everett?
You know what? It's funny. I've never gotten away from window cleaning. So we include window cleaning whenever, like you mentioned, cedar decks. Mm-hmm. Cedar will fuzz up a lot. It gets all over the windows. We provide that service. We're still got our squeegees out, and we clean the windows. We do a wood home, a log cabin. they're going to have wood fibers all over the windows. So to be different than my competitors, we will clean the exterior windows when we're done. We just
Super
put that
smart.
nice touch.
Yes.
So,
Just a little extra cream on the top there, having the windows cleaned. Always.
So I have another question.
You got all the questions tonight, Mark, and I'm
I'm
enjoying it. It's great. It's great. I love it.
I never said I'm not going to enjoy a guest.
Right. I know.
But this one's really got me. My question is this, Everett. Someone calls Everett to come out, and it's not. I don't remember your company name. It's a couple initials. You mentioned it 20 times. But they call Everett to come out and give them a price on wood restoration, and then they go with someone else. How many times does Everett have to go back and fix someone else's screw up, and how much harder is it at that point?
Okay, so a lot of our work comes from just that.
Yeah.
And then, yes, definitely the price is more. That actually came up in the class today. So a lot of our work is somebody, like, it's real easy. Like, a lot of our the coating should be applied wet on wet. Stains and sealers repel themselves. Guys will let something dry and then try to put another coat on it. And at that point, they usually screw it up. Then they can't figure out how to strip it, how to fix it, and then the customer calls us back. And that doesn't just the deck, it could be siding. So that happens a lot. That, to me, is the biggest opportunity. I love that scenario because once we fix it, that's our customer for life.
Oh, yeah, you're sold.
Yeah, you have their family, you have everybody.
Yep, I'm fine with that. And to answer your question earlier before you asked about the consulting and all that stuff, if somebody doesn't buy my product or doesn't take the class and they message me, we do everything possible to try to answer them or help them get through it too.
That's cool.
So I've been doing that for years. I enjoy what I do. They don't have to buy the product from me.
Yeah.
And I've heard that about you. Everyone that I've spoke to, and I was like, "Oh man, you're gonna have Everett on." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Man, everyone has a lot of nice things to say about you."
Dude, I have a guy who works for me, Craig, and he never pays attention to YouTube, doesn't go on social media, and he's like, "Oh man, you're gonna have the Wizard of Wood on?" And he's like, "I'm gonna watch it." I'm like, "Wow, really?" He's like, "Yeah, no, I watch all the stuff." I'm like, "I love it." So, you get even people who don't really engage saying nice stuff about you.
You've got a good reputation, which is really hard to find in these industries. There's not a lot of people have good reputations. You know what I mean? Everyone's got something bad to say about somebody, and you are one of the few that we've had on the show, though, where everybody's like, "Man, he's awesome. He's such a nice guy."
Yeah,
da, 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 da.
I mean, like, as window cleaners, whenever we get around, I know Seth travels quite a bit, and Tim always seems to be on vacation. TJ doesn't travel as much, and I'm somewhere in the middle. But we travel around. We're always drawn to windows. So are you drawn to lumber yards?
Actually, yes. It's funny how much wood you notice driving down a road or a highway or in different cities. It's crazy.
If you wouldn't know any better, you'd think we were a bunch of meat gazers, all this wood we're talking about.
Yeah. No, are you also a carpenter? I mean, do you build, like, what is Everett's hobby? Does you build furniture? I mean...
Oh, I don't have a whole lot of time for that stuff. I'll pick a project once in a while. We redid the kitchen table. We do stuff in the house. To be honest with you, when it comes to inside the house, my wife takes up more of the projects than I do.
Yeah.
I have this rule. She does the inside, I do the outside, and I take full advantage of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And where do you live, Everett? Where did you say you live?
I'm in Chemung, New Jersey, and if you drop the pin on the map, I'm halfway between Atlantic City and Philadelphia.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice here.
Jacob,
TJ, you're not far from him for a class.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I know I'm not. I mean, trust me, I've been stalking him. I've been stalking him on Facebook for like 4 years, bro.
Trying to get me and Andrew to go to one of his classes for a while, so maybe we'll team up on it.
Dude, that'd be cool, man. If you decide to do that, I mean, we gotta get by this. All this. I mean, New Jersey's weird, man. You know, the COVIDs and all that, man. It's weird out there, bro.
Well, it sounds like he has a big area you can hide. So.
Well, you can actually bring a camper up there. We got room for you there. And then the last few classes, we have a little social on the deck and have a good time one of the nights. So,
that's cool.
Free lunches.
That's cool, man.
Hey, can't beat a free lunch.
Free lunch. I don't mind. You can call me anything you want except for late for dinner. You know what I mean? I'll never skip a meal. Jacob Dell said he got an autographed manual from Everett. Jacob Dell. Yeah, he just sings your praises.
My wife still busts my balls about that all the time when people come up and ask me to sign the manual.
I'm sure, yeah.
Terrible.
So Jennifer, somebody asked me for a copy of the American Window Cleaner magazine. I'm like, sure. And dude asked me to sign it. I'm like, no. I ain't doing that. I don't know if he was being facetious or not, but I was just like, no, and he just like laughed out loud.
Mark's been practicing his signatures this whole time because he's
I
ready.
tell you this, but mine are all gone. The whole case is sold.
Dude,
I feel like Mark's like a child with like nipples on the end of the boob.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like Mark signs stuff.
So Everett, what do you do outside of all of this? What are some things that you enjoy to do when Everett's not being the Wizard of Wood? I see you have a Blackstone and you like to cook on it. I do see that.
I tell you what, I love that. But we love hanging out on the deck. You know what? We used to, once a week go, hit a happy hour on a Friday or Saturday and just chill and relax. And through the pandemic, we realized, what the hell are we doing? We got a nice deck.
Of course.
We got poker. We got the grill. We got the Blackstone now. We can just have a good time. I don't have to drive home if I have an extra beer. Who cares?
Right.
So it's been great. And then that Blackstone.
Do you make?
We're doing quesadillas. We're doing pancakes. We're doing
everything.
All right. So you guys are both Blackstone dudes. So do you guys are like? Is every hamburger a smash burger now?
Dude.
Because that's like, I joined one of those Blackstone groups and I've spent the last week just trolling it because people are such, like, the whole fucking group is nothing but smash hamburgers. Like, is that all you guys do is fucking squish fucking hamburger meat? Is that all you guys do?
My wife bought the Blackstone. It sat on my back porch in the box for 6 months, and finally I got tired. The box was actually starting to decay because I cleaned the porch with the hose so many times. And finally I said, I'm just going to put this thing together. I put it together. I seasoned it up, and I started watching some videos, and the smash burgers always come up, right? So I'm like, all right, it's seasoned up. I go buy some really fatty ground beef that she won't buy, so I go buy the tube of meat.
Right,
the tube of meat.
You say, hey, Jennifer's grandpa. Hey, Mark. Jennifer's grandpa had Jennifer convinced that was horse meat. Convinced. He's like, that's that damn horse meat. That ain't hamburger meat.
No, I'm following the recipe. And it's basically 20 people saying the same thing. With the the parchment paper, and I used a pan lid, and I put the smash burgers on there. And my wife, who eats very healthy, her eyes got this big. She's like, "Oh my God, these are the best burgers I've ever had in my life." We had them last night again. I love that. I love that grill. I love that grill. My poor Weber's sitting in the corner crying. You never light me up anymore.
So, do you? This is the thing. The steaks. Do you guys the steaks on a Blackstone? Yes, no.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I do? And I've started doing this too. I still like doing them on the grill, but what I do, I even do it with like prime rib. Is I do I'll sear it. I'll turn it up full blast.
Yeah.
Then flip it over on the grill.
What I do is the only thing is like with the grill, we'll buy a tenderloin and I'll cut my own fillets. And with the grill, it's nice because you can close the top and get the sides cooked, okay? But I cut the fillets a little thinner. I put them in a Ziploc. I shrink wrap them in the vacuum. And then when we're going to have them, we thought, I'll put them in a Ziploc bag with half a cup of olive oil and just Montreal steak seasoning. Let them sit there all day. And then I'll literally heat that Blackstone up and just dump it on the grill. And I leave it on one side for 5 to 7 minutes, turn it over 5 to 7 minutes. And they're amazing.
Montreal steak seasoning is the worst shit in the entire world.
No, it is really bad.
So bad.
Mark, you and I do the same thing.
Yeah.
We vacuum seal it. I use Montreal.
You guys are both disgracing it. Oh my God. How about just some salt and pepper, guys? Oh my God. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna mainline Montreal seasoning. It's gonna be great. Shut up.
Old taste buds, man. It's old.
You're gonna be the thorn between TJ and Mark's relationship.
Yeah, these two old dudes like Montreal seasoning. That's all they had back in the fucking 40s to season steak with. These two old bastards.
That's it.
I used to walk uphill both ways to get Montreal seasoning when I was a boy. I
had to actually walk to Montreal.
Yeah. Tim said a funny.
Shit,
Montreal's. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm out of it again. You should have gave me. I know because Seth still has that entire bag of that fucking rub that you gave me. I know it.
I have half of it. I have half.
See, dude, I went through. I had all the little bottles, that giant bag. I put that shit on everything.
Well, dude,
the Tanner rub, I put it on everything. Everything.
I until we buy a house in the next couple weeks, my apartment is 750 square feet. Cooking in the kitchen is basically cuddling. And that's
right?
not fun.
Yeah.
So like, I just fucking.
Now you know he's married.
You guys don't fry bacon naked, do you? You guys are newlyweds.
Yeah.
I mean, if I do fry bacon, it's naked. That's right.
All right.
And sometimes, I feel bad.
Sometimes I feel bad.
Yeah, she's got to get up and wake up and look at that.
Yeah.
But at least there's bacon, so there's that too.
There's that. I mean, you get past it with the bacon for sure.
Yeah.
Bacon on everything.
Fucking Seth and his fried egg tits in the kitchen.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what, Everett. When we get all this done, send me a message and send me your address. I'm going to send you some rub because you seem like a good man that could use some barbecue rub.
Yes.
I love rubs, man. We use a lot of rubs.
Mark Tanner's barbecue rub it's insanity.
Yeah.
When I say I put it on
Right.
we put it on. If it's a protein of some sort, I'm putting it on there. Mark says it's not for chicken, but I put it on there anyways.
Designed as a pork
It's
rub,
not for
because that's what I was doing. A lot of, competitions so I made it for pork.
Right.
And even Jacob Dell, who I spoke to recently, goes, dude, you ever tried it on fish? And I'm like, yeah, here and there. I did shrimp with it. It was amazing. He goes,
Shrimp
no,
is so good.
that shit is going on fish as well, man. So
Yeah. Dude, butter, garlic, and your rub on shrimp.
Oof.
God damn,
I
that's good.
gotta try it now.
Yeah,
Dude,
I'll send you
he's
some.
got $1 million idea in his pocket. He just kind of hands out to people. Like, he could make a knot with that. It's the best rub I've ever used.
I have a nice RV or 60 acres like Everett here, but it puts a smile on my face when someone says, hey, that's really good.
Yeah, it's so good. And when I brag it up and people are like, is it really that good? Like Jacob Dell was one of those dudes like, is it really that good? I'm like, you'll get some. I'm telling you, man, it's good. And then now look at him. Now he can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, no,
everybody that gets it.
With a spoon in his kitchen.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's sad.
It was stolen from me.
What Blackstone you guys got? What Blackstone you guys got?
All 2-burner.
I've got the 3-burner. I'm going to probably bring my 3-burner to my camp, and I want the 4-burner home. And the reason, and Everett will know this, like I was making smash burgers, and then I wanted to grill the buns, but I didn't want to burn them, and I'm cooking 5 burgers at once. It'd be nice to be able to shut one side completely down where it's just warm and move the burgers to that side and then put them all together. The 3-burner is, no, mine's the 2-burner. The 2-burner, I want the 3 or the 4-burner. Just because I need more space.
Joseph, listen, bro. I love you, Joseph Skinta, but I'm telling you, I don't need a master-built gravity feed smoker. I got a Mark Tanner fucking bread box oven. That's what I got, and that motherfucker is legit.
Yeah.
That is the best smoker. That smoker that Mark made me 10 times more the smoker I was before I had it. I'm not just saying. I mean it. That smoker's legit. I love that fucking thing.
Before that?
I was using. I had a charcoal one,
cabinet,
and then I had an electric cabinet. But this thing is fucking 6 feet tall. I could put 5-6 turkeys in that bitch at one time. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You know what I mean? I could put like 400 racks of ribs in that bitch at once. I don't. All right, I might be exaggerating, but it's awesome. The shelves come out. I love it. Mark's the best. He's the best.
Yeah, Everett, do you smoke meat?
I do. First brisket I did look like that first deck I did.
Yeah. Briskets can be a challenge.
Screwed that up royally, but then after that I started getting dialed in. Now, I just did we had a little event up here, a Deccan Woodfest we called it. We actually went and got a pig from the butcher and brought that over there because we had all the people. But I actually put some of my pork and I smoked that. I loaded, I rubbed it I like. Came out wonderful. The people liked mine better than what I got from the butcher. So I kind of got that dialed in pretty well too.
Nice.
Everyone say hi to Aunt Jackie. Aunt Jackie's watching.
Hello.
Hi, Aunt Jackie. Love you.
Hey, Aunt Jackie.
We're on here with we're here with Wood royalty. Everett Abrams, the Wizard of Wood. Aunt Jackie, I'm big time now. Hey Mark, we finally made it, dude.
Yes, y'all made it.
We all made it. Tim. I mean, you know what I like about Tim is when Tim doesn't do something at all, he doesn't say anything. I respect that about. I respect that about Tim because Tim's like, you know what? And rather than looking stupid, I'm just gonna sit here and like absorb. That's
I'm gonna learn.
Yeah. I love that about Tim. I love that about him, man.
Puts himself in timeout.
I'm just like, I'm gonna let you.
So how long are you at the huge convention, Everett?
What's that?
How long are you going to be at the huge? Are you going to be there the entire time, or?
I'm here till Friday. I'm going to head back on Friday.
Okay, cool.
So I'll be spending a little time here, a day and a half or so.
Are you doing any more classes or anything like that, or is the rest of your time just going to be enjoying the festivities?
I'm going to hang out in some of the booths with the distributors that are selling the products.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
That's cool.
I got Mrs. Wizard here with me too, so she'll be in some of the booths and helping out too. She knows a lot about the product. You'd be surprised.
So Everett, has there been have there been other companies that want to just private label your product and mass distribute it?
I've had 2 people ask me about that and turned both of them down.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another plan with it. I want to grow it, develop it, and see where it goes from there, and then possibly. The reason I run it for 2 different companies too, because if I ever decided to sell it, I got 2 separate companies.
Yeah.
So I could sell the product off depending on what the offer would be.
Yeah.
But it's still growing very fast.
If somebody comes to Everett with "fuck you" money, that's it, right? You're just like, I'm out of here, bro.
Not yet, but hopefully it's getting there, right?
I mean, that would be cool, right?
I'll take it and go.
Right.
But I picked up another distributor since I've been here just today.
Awesome, man. That's cool, man.
Good stuff. And you know what? 10, 15 years ago, I never envisioned this. I tell people just what I told you about the 30 years. I'm a 30-year overnight success.
Right.
Yeah.
You work hard to get to this point, so kind of enjoying it a lot more than I ever did.
Right.
You certainly have to think outside of the box to take it from Everett making good money. Like my dad used to tell me, what are you worried about trying to make this and sell it and everything? Just go make a good living with it. But I'm still physically working.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what? You know what's going to make me the happiest? As I get older and later in life, I want to be where I don't have any employees, any company. I just want that pressure washer, my equipment, and go do something just on my own when I feel like doing it.
Yeah, not because you have to, because you want to.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'd be just happy.
Yeah. It's like I want to sleep till I wake up, not wake up because I have to go somewhere.
Yeah, I'm with you. Dude, I just felt what Mark said in my soul right there. I just felt that in my soul. I want to wake up when I feel like waking up. I want to sleep till I wake up. You know what I mean? I love that, dude. I want to do that so bad.
My friend's dad does that. He's retired now. So he used to be a Boston cop, then became a teacher and retired maybe a couple years ago. And he sleeps till noon every day. Gets up, gets his paper, sits there with the dog, sits out and sunbathes on his porch, and then drinks Miller Lite and a snifter full of ice. And he does that, and then at about 3 or 4, he might do something. And then he stays up till like midnight watching TV. And I'm like,
that's Jennifer's dad. That sounds exactly like Jennifer's dad. Jennifer's dad, he enlisted in the Army, did his 4 years in the Army, got out of the Army, went into the Air Force, did 4 years in the Air Force, and then operated heavy equipment his entire life after that. And he quit, he retired from the county as an operator, number 1, and that's pretty much what he does. He sits on the TV on the couch in his underwear, watches TV till about 3 o'clock, and then he'll go outside and do whatever it is that he does, fixing on this, fixing on that, drinking his beers, and then stays up till 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Just doing his thing. You know what I mean?
I'll be 100% honest. I don't see myself doing that. I
Me
would
either.
Probably after a while miss the haggling and the bullshit with customers and dealing with business issues, because that's Everett's been doing this 30 years. You don't just stop doing it. You know what I'm saying? You don't. That's why Everett said I need my pressure washer and I'm gonna go out and do this and this and this. You know, you're gonna go out with your boots on versus very hard to just walk away and never look at it again. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, on my days off, I'm up at 5:30. On work days, I'm hitting the snooze. You know what I mean?
Hey, Jacob Williams has got the COVIDs, man. He's got the COVID. He got the COVIDs, bro. You need ivermectin. You need ivermectin.
Florida.
What you need to do is inject bleach into your bloodstream. You'll be fine, bro.
Yeah. Go get the vaccine. Maybe
45 hooked us up with that.
That made me think to ask Everett this question. So, with wood, SH or no SH?
Okay, it's a good question. So, SH is a tool we definitely use. It's really good on maintenance coats. The problem is, is it good for wood? Is it not good for wood? And all that stuff. Sometimes you're asking it to do something it can't do. So bleach reacts with the first thing it comes in contact with. It's more for surface cleaning or a non-porous surface.
Yes.
Wood's porous.
Right.
So it hits the surface. Like if you have a lot of growth on it, you were talking about, TJ, I think you mentioned about those nasty green decks.
Yes.
You put bleach on it, it hits the organics, it never touches the wood.
Right.
So that's something that looks splotchy and doesn't look good. So bleach is the wrong answer there. But if you fast forward and I've already restored the deck and I stained it and I come back 2 years, bleach with some housewash, I'm just killing off the surface organics and recoating that thing.
Yeah, because everything underneath is sealed up.
Right. Still good. I'm recoating and maintaining it. So bleach is better for maintenance than others. I think if you ask people if bleach is bad, bleach is bad for wood, they really don't know why they're even saying it.
Yeah.
The reason they say it is because they used to make paper. Chlorine was used to destroy the lignin in the wood.
Right.
That's like something holds the wood together. You separate the pulp, and then you make paper.
Right.
So that's what trying to make that stretch. But we're not using those kind of concentrations of chlorine. So we're using sodium hypochlorite at a lower rate. The idea is if you're going to use it, get it off. Don't leave it soak into the wood. That kind of thing. Just use it for what it should be. I don't split some of that stuff. We do worse things to wood, like when we start using sodium hydroxide in strippers, that raises grain more than heat, more than bleach. It's harder on it, and people don't say anything about that. So when I teach the class, I ask anybody in the class, if I gave you a cup of paint strip or sodium hydroxide and water right now, would you drink it? And then, of course, everybody says no, but yet, hopefully, some people may not, depends on how early they got into the class. They use it in their mouth every day because it's in toothpaste.
Yeah.
But nobody's saying, hey, don't brush your teeth because it has paint stripper in it.
Yeah.
So I think people get a little goofy about the use of bleach.
Well, everyone's in the comments. They keep asking, and and I'm sure it's most of these guys are seeing treated decks. Everyone keeps asking. So not bleach, then what? Sodium percarbonate? What do they do? Yeah, they're just free.
Yeah, sodium percarbonate or another one that people don't use with heavy growth. So I only want to clean it once. Sodium metasilicate. And a lot of people years ago didn't talk about sodium metasilicate. It's talked more about now, but it's like a strong cleaner or a weak stripper. So you can kind of jump up to there when you have a lot of growth. So sodium percarbonate or sodium metasilicate work better than on the heavy growth than sodium hypochlorite.
There you go, guys. Hope everyone's happy now and stop asking that same fucking question over and over again.
You know what's funny? A lot of people don't know about sodium metasilicate, but when Trex got sued 20 years ago, that was what they used. Sodium percarbonate and sodium metasilicate was step one of the cleaning process to clean the Trex product. That's how long it's been used kind of in this industry related. But if you ever read got on a Facebook group, all you see is conversation about sodium hypochlorite.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard anyone ever say metasilic before. I didn't even know that was a thing until you just said it right there. I don't even know what the hell that is, where you would even get it at.
So, Everett, now Everett, in areas such as mine, where we're not that far above sea level and EPA is all over everything, is this stuff legal to put down and not recapture?
Yeah, when you get into stuff around waterways, EPA issues, that kind of stuff, it's either no chemicals or that we just talked about sodium percarbonate. That's your environmentally friendly cleaner. Okay. And then if you're going to end up two-stepping it all and you have to add a brightener, then you would go to citric acid instead of oxalic acid.
Okay.
Citric acid, your environmentally friendly acid.
Okay. There's a lot to know about.
Yes.
All this, man.
So not only are you cleaning it, but once it's clean, you want to brighten it as well. In most cases, not all cases, but most, right?
Brighten and neutralize. Yeah.
Right. See, guys, this is why you go take the class, man.
Right.
This just makes me want to go take it even more.
So
I want to go because it's just fucking interesting.
You just want to go because you want to drink beer.
Learning.
So,
Yeah, I just want to drink some beer.
It says where I am is like vacation land in
Yeah.
the Northeast. There's a lot of cedar. There's a lot of mahogany. There's a lot of Brazilian hardwoods. There's a ton of teak. And
Right.
I've cleaned it, and I got to be honest, I used SH or percarbonate cleaner, and then hit it with some oxalic acid, and had decent results. But I'm like, I want to know really what I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I have an idea, but it's not a good.
Right.
well,
See, and
you
that's
set
the
yourself
same.
aside from
Yeah.
the competition.
That's the same way with
I
me.
know,
I
that's
kind of
fucking
know
stupid.
what I'm doing, but I'm gonna be honest. Most of the times, it's a crapshoot. You know what I mean? And I've just been cleaning shit long enough to get myself out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? But it would be nice to know the proper procedures and the right way to do things. It would be nice to know that. Give myself a little more confidence. So that'd be cool.
Well,
What's the
the other
what's
thing
the
is our business model.
Mhm.
I want customers. I'm not trying to sell a pressure washing service or anything. I want a customer.
Right.
That way I can do the deck, I can do the house, I could do the driveway, the paver seal, whatever it is. So when we're out there, it's easy for me to go out to a deck if they call me out there and upsell the house washing area. We still do all the pressure washing and everything too. So we get services. When you these guys that are trying to sell, house washing and pressure washing, it's hard to add that deck to it. How do you add a $2,700 deck restoration job to a $400 or $500 house?
Yeah.
But yet I could take that $2,700 deck and turn that into a
All day.
You're selling the
All
easier
day.
side.
Yeah.
You're selling you're
You're upselling the easy stuff.
Well, and that
So
leads
much.
to another question that I have. So you started in the pressure washing industry, which obviously is the $300, $400, $500. When you made that jump, did you find marketing difficult? Did you find the sale difficult at first because it was so much more of an investment for the customer?
So I changed it from jet pressure washing and window cleaning to deck restoration plus. It was easier to market using the wood, and the plus I use that as plus
Whatever.
the other service.
Plus, I'll wash your driveway. Plus, I'll clean your windows. Whatever.
But there's two things. If I'm somebody today and I'm either adding wood restoration services or I'm new into this stuff or I'm doing pressure washing or something else already, I'm not going to use the word clean. I'm going to use restore or restoration because if you say restoration, people are already thinking, okay, I'm going to pay more money for this service. So that's one. And then I think when, I don't know how to say it, but just when you're marketing these services, you got to look at it as more like a niche service or a specialty. How you break that out or how you figure that out in your company is important. So I would say, okay, we're a pressure washing company. We do have a specialty service or services, and it's wood cleaning or wood restoration or whatever you're going to say.
Right.
But you got to kind of separate it because it is hard for the pressure washing guy to get a $2,700 deck.
Yeah, no, that's the perfect approach because I can relate. 1 second, T. I can relate exactly to that because many times I'll be on. Actually, I looked at a job today for glass restoration, heavily oxidized and stained up windows that a couple companies have already looks like they take chains to them, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, go see what you can do. And I go, give me the address of the suite you want done. There's like one address with 100 different suites. Pick a bad one. I'm going to do a sample. I'll leave a business card in there. But I have to remind them, and because Everett's got it right, it's not window cleaning. You understand? I got to market it as glass restoration because they say, oh, window cleaning, he gets $10 a panel. So let's say it's twice as much, $20. It could take me 2 hours to do that window. I can't do it for $20. You know what I'm saying? So to step it that way, just like he markets as a wood restoration that offers pressure washing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So not everybody is your customer, let's be real. Because, you got guys that just want it splash and dash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we kind of pre-qualify them. We get some information about them. We find out what they know. What kind of wood, when's the last time it was done, what was used, what our minimum is. we go through that whole thing. So we're hopefully kind of weeding them out. And depending on the answers, you kind of can feel, how
Right.
much knowledge they have done, what they expect to spend on it, that kind of stuff.
So how long does the average deck restoration take? Like, let's say you're going in for a $2,700 job. You got what, 2-3 guys, and how long are they going to be there?
2 guys, 2 days. You're going in and you're gonna restore it one day, and then you're gonna stain it the second day. If you have to do any repairs or sanding, that adds a 3rd day, but then that reflects in the price.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a guy here in town that his business it's called Deck Rescue. And that dude is all over the place. I see him everywhere I'm at, he's at. I see him everywhere.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he doesn't clean windows or I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Nobody can destroy me.
There's a lot of guys that we don't see online or anything that they're out there doing stuff. There's a guy in the Maryland area named John, his name is Deck Medic.
Mm-hmm.
I met, and somebody brought him up today. That guy's dialed in. You'll never see him online, but he's got ambulances out there, Deck Medic. He pulls up to a job. People don't forget him. They love him in his area. There's a lot of companies out there like that.
That's such a good gimmick. The ambulances, jeez, that's
Joe
so good.
wants to buy an ambulance, dude. They got one for sale down there. He wants to buy it.
Red
So
lights. You never have
It's
to
a
stop at
Ford.
red
So
light or
it'll be a
anything.
Ford,
Yeah.
so you can't go wrong. Because
Yeah.
Chevy don't do ambulances because you can't be broke down on the side of the road in a Chevy ambulance. You just can't.
Yeah.
You just can't.
You gotta run green and yellow lights, I think.
Yeah.
You can't run red, blue, or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
they
you
usually
pull up-
disconnect them.
You pull up in an ambulance, Deck Medic, people know they're paying you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Oh no! If I pulled up, I would have a gurney or what do you call that? A stretcher, and I would open the back doors and put a fake grandma laying on. I'd have the whole neighborhood out looking at it. But no, there's a lot of guys that like these guys that you're saying that are flying under the radar, probably making a tremendous living. They don't want to take it to a level other than what they're doing, and that's great too.
I honestly wish there were 5 more of me out there helping teach how to do wood the right way, or wood restoration, because we could prevent a lot of guys who do struggle. Like you were talking about bleach, they try to bleach everything and don't realize that there might be something better or easier that'll make their job easier. I just wish there were other people, because there's a lot of people that are actually trying to add these services.
Is there going to be like a Wizard of Wood ambassador program? I can come and be Everett. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna be Everett Junior. I'll be the Mage's Apprentice. You know what I mean? Of wood.
Yeah, I'm gonna say apprentice.
Agile apprentice.
Yeah.
Apprentice program.
That's cool, man.
So Everett, I want to back this up.
That's a good idea.
Back this up a minute.
Yeah.
I just to clarify something. When you were involved with the Kenny Rogers Roasters, did you own the franchise?
No, I was the director of operations.
Director of operations.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wow.
So
they had 5 of them up in my area.
So there's no in the immediate future franchising of the Wizard of Wood.
No,
No.
I don't want anything to do with franchises ever again.
Okay.
All right.
It's good for the owner. It's just not good for the proprietors.
Yeah. Well, when 2009 hit and the economy kind of was in the tank, guys were jumping off the formula. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and
Yeah.
that happens anywhere where you lose control in franchising. There is a span of control you lose.
So
Right.
So with 20 employees, I assume your area that you work in, to keep 20 employees busy, you must travel.
No,
No.
nothing over an hour.
Really?
Yep.
And
Very
you can
rarely.
keep 20 guys busy full time.
You should see where I'm at in South Jersey. We got the old original settlements from this country with log cabins to new cabins. We got decks everywhere. I'm not that far from the shore. 45 minutes, I'm at the shore. So I got everything from wood decks to composite decks that way. And then,
that's got it. I mean, like here, man. I mean, like I said, that deck rescue dude, legit, man. That dude is everywhere. Everywhere. There's decks everywhere. There's
you're good.
It's not really decks aren't really a Florida thing. I don't feel like.
No,
We have a lot of concrete.
Yeah. Concrete seems much more suitable to that wet environment.
Mm-hmm.
One out of every home supposedly has a deck.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of work in an area. Now, I've had people where I'll travel an hour and 15 minutes, but they pay. extra to restore a house. They can't find somebody.
Mhm.
They just want us, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
hour and 15 minutes has been my exception. Most of our work is within an hour.
Any
And-
house
and-
covered with wood siding, I walk. I don't. I as soon as I pull in the driveway and I see it, I back right out. I don't have nothing to
And
do with that,
you
dude.
guys do commercial as well as residential?
We do some commercial, yes.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah,
the
but-
largest part of your business has to be residential. It has to be.
Dollar-wise, residential, the deck building and the wood home restorations run neck and neck dollar-wise.
Oh, okay.
So when you build a deck for someone, do you also upsell a maintenance program on that deck? Like if Everett came and built a deck for me, how long do I have to? What is your recommended amount of time before I do anything to it?
So if it's PT, we're gonna wait a season and do that.
Mhm.
And then what I do is I tell them the first time we do it, it's not going to hold up as it will after that. So 2 years plus or minus first time, 2 years to 3 years every time after that, because the wood has time to weather and expand, open up a little bit.
Right.
So
So you're able to sell long-term relationships.
almost all of them are, even the ones I had 20 years ago. I have some customers were on a second deck for.
Yeah.
So you can get like those people that I've been working for 20 years too, or 16 years, whatever it is. All of a sudden their deck goes. They trusted us all this time. It's pretty much our job to build a new deck.
Yeah.
If we build a new deck for somebody, if we did a good job, they only want us to maintain it and stain it. So
Yeah.
you're locked in. They're really good, loyal customers. And those log cabin customers and wood home customers, they're some of the most educated customers you can have. They know about wood. They know.
Right.
They read everything. You show up there and you can't make eye contact, you fumble through the words, they're going to pick you off real fast.
Right.
Yeah.
They lock in. They get the guy they want, and then they lock into him.
I got a guy that has a log cabin that all he wants me to do. He's like, I just want you to rinse it off with water. I don't want you. He goes, and you better stand far away from it. I don't want you burning up my wood and da 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 da. And I was like, say no more, fam. I got you, dog.
I'm your man.
Yeah, I'm your man. I don't. You ain't got to worry about nothing. I'll rinse it off for you if that's what you want. That's what I'll
TJ's a
do.
quarter mile away.
Yeah, I'm
spraying that
squirting that shit from the road. I'm good. No, I mean, so, because some guys, you could see. He showed me pictures, and you could see the guy that originally cleaned his house before he was like, and this experience he had with this guy led him to like, I need to learn how to take care of my house because this guy just fucked it up. You know what I mean? And he showed me that dude just really fucked this cabin up. I don't know how the guy got it looking the way it was when I got there.
Yeah.
But like 3 years later, he's like, all I want you to do is just rinse the dirt off because I don't have time. Just rinse her down.
Yeah.
Do, you know what I mean? Clean the windows for me and, whatever. And I'm like, well, this is what it'll cost. And he's like, sounds great to me. I don't have to do it. Because I told him straight out, I was like, if you're wanting me to clean this, I asked, that's the first thing. I was like, is there any organic growth or anything? He's like, no, it's just dirty. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Then I will come out and give it a cleaning, but that's all. Because I don't feel confident enough. And he told me, when you asked me about the organic growth and whether there was none or not, and then when you said, I'm not really confident in cleaning your house that way if it has any organic growth, I don't know enough to feel comfortable enough to sell that job for you. And he's like, that's what sold me on you. You admitted that you didn't know what the fuck you were doing. You know what I mean? And I was like, if you just need a basic wash, I'll do that. But outside of that, I'm not going to do anything.
That brings me to a question. So Everett, if TJ calls you up and say, this is exactly what this guy wants, basically to hose the house down, what do you recommend other than just rinsing it with water that's not going to do any damage, that's just going to really give it a nice cleaning? And I would assume that clean wood is healthier than wood that's impregnated.
We're going to see if I did it the right way.
Environmental.
Yeah, a couple things. So even water, I got an oxidized coating, water can affect it.
Mm-hmm.
So I preface that with the customer right up front that even water could affect it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to use something, you can always start out the weakest. A little detergent, some water, some soap. That's better than nothing. And I would go that route. If we're going to go into doing a little bit of cleaning, you still got to, and there is some growth, you got to let them know it's either a house wash mix or like a sodium percarbonate. The one thing is, there's like a standard that came from the Forest Products Lab that was talking about 4 different things. So One is you're going to pre-wet wood. Two, you're going to use chemicals or products. You're not going to rely on pressure. You're going to use something to help restore the wood.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to rinse, rinse, and rinse again. And then the fourth thing is to apply a preservative or something. When we talk about cedar shakes and cedar shake homes, that's one where I'd say is the exception to the rule, because we preserve a lot of, the decks and wood siding with stain. But if you don't clean cedar shake roofs, it'll get moss growth, it'll rot it, it gets it wet, moist, moss, and you can extend the life of a cedar shake roof just by cleaning it every few years, even if you didn't seal or.
Yeah, we don't have cedar shake roofs in Florida for whatever reason, maybe because it's too humid. But I see these
that and they'll
guys
blow
online
all
that are
that,
scraping them.
and hurricanes will blow that smooth off the roof.
Oh yeah, but,
Right.
that can't be good for the roof. Is scraping it with a metal object. I mean,
But you got to get the moss off before.
the only way, huh?
Yeah.
Effective, yeah. And we run into them. They wait that long. The first thing you do, if there's moss on there and it's heavy, first thing I do is I'm squeezing the shake. If I can hit my thumb to my finger through the shake, I know
It's gone.
It's done. Yeah.
don't waste your money.
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing stuff.
Mhm.
Man, you learn something new every day on the Squeegee Life podcast, man.
Yeah.
Shoot,
Yeah.
man.
Good stuff.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I think I may have done the right thing. The guy actually paid me for the job after it was finished, and it looked really good. It was really nice. He was really happy with it, and I took his money, and it was cool. So that's the main thing here, right? Is taking people's money. That's what we want, is people's monies, right? Yeah.
I got a question for you, Everett. I've been in some areas doing some residential here and there, and if you use a pure water system,
Mhm.
I'm always concerned about the wood. Okay, now, I've seen times where you go scrub a window and obviously it's getting wet because you're using the water fed, and you turn around and that looks like a coffee table that left a ring on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And usually it dries away. But is that a sealer on the wood that some areas it's penetrating, some it's not?
Yeah.
Is it most of the time going to go away? Because that's scary shit when you're looking at someone's house and the wood is all discolored just from doing nothing but getting it wet.
Most of the time it'll go away. Where it usually doesn't, and you might have seen this, somebody's like front door where they have
It's always the front door.
the first line of defense. I don't know why nobody does this. A heat gun.
Dry it.
Dry it. That's the first thing you do before you go. Everybody says, "Oh, strip it. You got to get it all up." First thing is grab the heat gun, dry it, and usually it'll take that haze out.
Yeah, that's scary when you're looking at someone's $5,000 front door.
Oh,
And you're like, oh no.
I've had
we've
those
all been
experiences.
there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I dicked
We do
up.
a lot of doors too.
I dicked up someone's front door real bad one time. Super bad, dicked it up. And it was a double door too, which was extra special. So two times the dicked it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Be careful, man. I see a lot of stuff. I've left most of the pressure washing groups because I don't get along with people that ask stupid ass questions. And just I will never understand and it seems, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but it seems it's more prevalent in the pressure washing industry. The guys sell jobs, they do them, and then they come to the pressure washing firm. How do I do this? What are you doing? I don't understand what you're doing. Why are you doing that?
I won't answer that person.
Yeah.
Don't ask me after you've already sold the job and you didn't even know what the hell you want.
You're on your own.
Or the one where someone puts up a picture and says, "How much do I charge for this?" If you're asking me, you don't belong there.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't belong there. My overhead could be 100% different than yours. Everett's overhead with 20 employees and 60 fucking acres is a hell of a lot different than what I have to.
You're going to keep bringing up that 60 acres, aren't you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm feeling
Hey, Mark, if you like hunting, you can come up. I got a nice deer on the trail camera, too.
Nice. We're going to put that thing in the smoker.
Little do-re-mi. Little do-re-mi in the smoker. Hey!
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mark doesn't hunt. Mark's a fisherman.
No, my son hunts. I'm a fisherman.
Yeah, Mark's a fisherman. I can tell Mark's a fisherman.
I like to fish.
Mark gags too much. Mark gags too much to be a deer hunter. Way too much.
If I cut open a deer carcass and that shit flopped on the ground with the steam coming out,
the smell is atrocious, dude. The smell coming out of that motherfucker, holy fuck.
I grew up in Georgia. Like, every other neighbor would be like skinning raccoons and stuff. Like, people just shot whatever was there. Robins, raccoons.
I worked in a
red part raccoon is gross.
I worked in a slaughterhouse for a year, so I watched hogs come off a trailer and get shocked and then bolted in the head and die, and then their guts get ripped out of them, and then they go through this big blowtorch thing that burns all the hair off of them, and then they go and they get wetted down again and washed off, and they get frozen, and then they sit all stretched out frozen, and then you come out and you cut their heads off and toss them in a big box, and then it comes down the conveyor and they get their backbone ripped out of them. You know, their spine gets pulled out with one knife, a hoop knife. I actually did that for a little while. It sucked. That's the hardest knife in the world to keep sharp, is a hoop knife. And then and then every once in a while you'd come across an abscess in the meat. It looks like mint chocolate chip ice cream. Hey, but it stinks so bad. It's the worst smell in the entire world.
No,
but
I would not make it in that world.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you something. I worked there for a year. I did not touch bacon, sausage, pork chops, anything, any pork product for probably 2 years. I did not touch any pork. Like, every time I smelled pork chops cooking, I was reminded instantly of the slaughterhouse, because the water that you're using, you know, because it's an ice box you're trimming this meat in, all the water is hot, so you're like, whatever meat you're running your knife through, it smells like kind of like cooking pork chops. You know what I mean? It's yeah, dude. And the worst I've ever been sick my whole life is there 2 times I got sick. So I mean, like, in the bed, couldn't move sick.
Yeah, all that shit.
Oh, it was terrible, man. And I learned that you can't go out and get drunk the night before you go to work at the slaughterhouse, especially on the cut shift, because your blood's so fucking thin. Like, I would get yelled at. I'm like, I'd be shaking, and the boss would be like, "You were drinking, weren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I could tell," you know, because they all know, you know what I mean? They work at slaughterhouse for years. They know, you know what I mean? You don't drink because it thins your blood, so you're going to get cold quicker. You know what I mean? It sucked, man. That was the worst experience of my life. It was good money, but United Food and Commercial Workers, it was a great place. But, man, bro, I got the fuck out of there as quick as I could. I went right back to framing houses. I was like, I think the sun's not that bad at all. You know what I mean? The sun's really not that bad. Yeah, outside's not bad. But in that slaughterhouse, that was terrible, man. Jason Snyder worked there with me, too. He used to push hogs. He'd be the guy that pushed 400 or 500 hogs out. He would the floor would be kind of icy, and he'd push out rows of hogs, and they would come into the cut room, and we'd cut them up. Crazy ass job, man. Super crazy job. Yeah.
Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. It makes you feel bad, though. Those poor pigs. Every time I see a livestock truck and I see all them pigs laying up there, I'm like, oh man, you poor motherfuckers. No, you know. And I know they're smart. What are they? The second smartest animal? You know what I mean? So they know what's happening, dude. They know where they're going. You know what I mean? And they know when that first one goes through the kill chute and gets dropped, they freak the fuck out. They know.
Oh, they know.
It's coming. They know. It's shitty, man. It's shitty, dude. It gives you a new respect for your meat. You know what I mean? It gives you a new respect for where that comes from, what the animal goes through. It's quick and painless. They don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? They get that bolt and then they get shocked. You know what I mean? Just to be safe. You know what I mean? But it's still fucked up, man. It's still fucked up.
You said nothing. Stop me from eating bacon.
I mean, I still had bacon on my pizza and shit, Everett. I mean, it wasn't a total loss, but like cooking it and shit, I just couldn't do it, man. Pork chops was definitely not happening. Is after you see them, I still go to the grocery store to this day and I see a pork loin and I'm like, shit, man. Shit, man. Yeah, I know where that came from. And then you explain it to people in your life and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. That's where that came from, just so you're aware. Well, Everett, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. When I can't remember where the exchange came from, but you had mentioned one time in a private message, I think it might have been, that you're like, oh yeah, I've seen the podcast, so I watch it. And I'm like, oh shit, that's cool, because you're the man, you know what I mean? And then finally, I was like, you know what, I feel like we're cool enough to ask Everett to come on the podcast. So I really appreciate you coming on, Everett.
Oh, I'm glad to do it. You guys are entertaining. I love your podcast.
Thank you. We got the Wizard of Wood stamp of approval, man. That's super great.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
Right. What I would like to know is where can people go and say get some online education and maybe even possibly book one of your events where they can go and get some knowledge from the Wizard of Wood.
Everything's pretty much on the wizardofwood.net.
Awesome.
So they could get to the online courses from that, my calendar, schedule, all the information get me is right there.
Sweet. So is there anything coming up soon for Everett and the Wizard of Wood? Any classes coming up soon after the huge convention?
Well, after the huge, I'm on break for a minute. My daughter's going to get married.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then we're heading to Aruba after that for a little...
oh, man, you got that hard life going on. Shoot.
And then at the end of September, I'll start back up on a 3-day class. And then October, I'm doing something with Mark Tulliano with Deco Products. We're going to do a 1 day where he's doing paver sealing and I'm doing wood sealing.
Awesome, man. Dude, hey, listen, guys. We got the Wizard of Wood on here. You know what I'm saying? The Wizard of Wood. Right. How awesome is that, guys? We would like to thank our sponsors, windowcleaner.com, Zero, the American Window Cleaner Magazine, Maker Products, Jan Sacco over there at Start Smart Box, www.startsmartbox. I always mess that up. How do you say that? Start.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tongue twister.
That's Jan, that's a tough job to say that right.
Yeah.
John Sacco. We appreciate you, man. If you guys want to, go to www.patreon.com/Squeegee Life. Become a Patreon member, or you can go to www.squeegeelife.com and buy some shit from us. We got some shit on there to sell. We got the best towels in the window cleaning business. Well, actually, the best towel for anything. Everett, yeah, really. Everett, you should buy towels from us to like wipe your forehead and stuff. You know what I mean? Because they're good for that too. You need towels to clean your Blackstone with. Squeegee Life towels. That's what you need those for, dude.
Yep.
Oh, I'll do that. I'll do a video with that.
Yeah.
We need to sell some more because those things aren't flushable and my septic tank is full.
We're running out of things to do with them.
Yeah.
Well, we just we really appreciate you coming on. I don't want to take any more time from you. I know your wife is there, and I don't want to take any more time from you tonight. So we're gonna cut this a little shorter than normal, guys. But we will be back next week, all by ourselves because nobody likes us. We've ran out of guests now. Everett will be the last guest we ever have. He's the last person I could con.
At the huge convention, it looks interesting. Have them hit us up.
Yeah, we need somebody to talk to, Everett. If you know anybody that'll talk to us, let us know, okay? Well, we will see you guys next weekend, or next week, actually, next Wednesday, right? That's what I wanted to say, next Wednesday. Yep. And thanks a lot for joining us again, Everett. We'll see you again next week, guys. Peace.
Thanks a lot, Everett. Thanks, guys.